Hello, welcome all to the film podcast that nobody listens to. I am Brodey.
And I am David.
And this is our third episode of the newest, latest, awesome, badass film podcast. By the way, I already told you, David, but just for the listeners out there, I am sick. So if I sound like I'm dying, that is why. But I still am doing this because the podcast is too important not to do. So sacrificing lives for this important cause.
You're doing so much, even though we have 0 listeners. I appreciate
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know why I would say you guys, because
There's nobody listening.
yeah, that's the point of the podcast. Oh, so this episode, it was my turn to pick the topic, and David picked the film, but we'll get to that in a second. So my topic I wanted to talk about with you, David, was our favorite and least favorite film genres.
Yeah. Do you have one that particularly sticks out to you? I think I know what your favorite is.
I'll name two. My two favorite, number one is film noir, no surprise there. And my second favorite, which is very close to my first, is horror.
Okay. For me, it's probably horror.
Mm-hmm.
And I love like a good action drama.
Mm-hmm.
Like not even specifically an action movie, not even specifically a drama, like a mesh between the two, I would say like one of the Bourne movies. I love that trilogy because it kind of meshes the two really well together.
I hate to admit this, but I've never seen a single Bourne movie.
Well, it's a good thing I can start recommending them to you now.
Yeah. No, yeah, I would definitely
I have no
watch
choice
those.
now.
But a good example of what you just said, of mixture between action and drama, would be Sicario.
Oh, fantastic.
More drama than action, but the action is so subtle because Denis Villeneuve.
That's
Yeah.
Benicio's best work.
Yeah. It's that we got to talk about that sometime. But no, that's a good one. Action. For me, action, I just think of like the 80s and everyone's hard on for Die Hard and like Predator and all those fucking classics. I mean, they're classics, don't get me wrong, but like those movies are so like overly
Over the top.
talked about. Yeah, just like they're cool, man. I guess, I don't know, they're just not for me. So I really have no room to shame them because they're just not for me. But definitely want to check out the Bourne movies. Those sound really cool.
We'll talk. Well, I feel like we'll talk more about certain genres like action, like over the top '80s action and whatnot. But like usually when we talk about those, I feel like the movie that's forgotten is Road Warrior. I'm not sure how much you know of the Mad Max franchise.
Oh yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, but I always recommend Road Warrior. I just think that's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in any genre. That movie's amazing.
Now that is the sequel. The second one. Okay, because Fury Road is
That's
technically the fourth one?
It's the fourth one, and I think it takes place between 2 and 3.
Yeah, that movie's incredible. I remember seeing that in theaters with my really good friend who loves Mad Max. Like, he is a very much so, like, he could be a Mad Max character himself. He loves that movie, and it's excellent. For a simple plot of just driving back and forth, it's so excellent.
Yeah. That movie proves that you don't really need like a complicated, convoluted plot. You can have something be really straightforward and it's still fucking great. Yeah.
It's interesting because action dramas, that could just stretch out to so many different kinds of films. Like that, I don't want to say...
I consider... Sorry.
No, you're good,
consider The Dark Knight an action drama.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so broad, and broad not in a bad way. Broad in terms of there's so many different opportunities to be an action drama, like Dark Knight's a great example.
Yeah, and you've talked about it, but like Heat is a quintessential, action drama. It's got some of the best action I've ever seen.
Yeah. And people think action, like I said, they think of the over-the-top 80s films, but action can go down to like Sicario. Sicario's not very much so action forward. It's more drama forward, but when the action is there, like that awesome highway scene, that is what I'm talking about. That is just the slow burn build up to that, 20 seconds of violence.
Yeah.
There's a great video on that on YouTube. I forget what it's called, but it's they talk about that sequence, and it's like, that's so true. Like, man, even Blade Runner 2049, that'd be that's more sci-fi, but that's an action drama.
I do love sci-fi. I'd also thought about considering that one, but I think more specifically, yeah, the action drama for me. Now, I do have a question for you though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a specific movie that turned you on to film noir, which is probably your favorite?
See, like, not trying to put in my own things, but I have a website that I know you know about that I write little pieces on, and I wrote about film noir. I honestly, man, this may sound weird. I don't know where I found film noir. I don't know. I can't pinpoint a time. I can't pinpoint a film. It was just, I just knew. That's the only way I could describe it. When I grew up, I just always wanted to be a cop. I always loved the detectives, the black and white movies I would watch with my grandpa. It wasn't necessarily film noir. And then eventually when I got older, I discovered what it was. It's so hard to explain. I just convinced I'm reincarnated of a 1940s private eye. That's the only way that makes sense. But I delved into the genre like years ago. I think my first exposure was probably the Maltese Falcon, which is people consider the first 1942. I think it was actually technically the first one was M.
I think it's 41.
Yeah, the movie M in the 30s. That's Fritz Lang.
Yeah,
The silent
that's a
film.
great one too.
Actually, it's not silent. I'm sorry. I'm hazy right now. But M is good. M is it's very cool to see that because it started the genre and it started the whole murder mystery cop, storyline.
Yeah.
It's great. But Maltese Falcon was my first one. I have an interesting viewpoint of that. I'll get into some other time. It's good. It's not the best. The story is very boring and
It drags a little bit.
Oh my fucking god! Like every time I watch it, I sit down like, okay, I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna try to care. The first 20 minutes are great, but once the fucking femme fatale gets introduced, and Sydney, what's his name? He's got a weird last name. But once the other characters are introduced, I just don't fucking care. I don't care about this fucking the statue and it. I just don't care. Even though Bogart is excellent in the movie, he's great.
Well, Bogart is never not like
No.
incredible and just super charismatic in any film, but especially the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah. So that started it, and then I just delved down. I think I've seen 40 plus film noirs. My favorite is Out of the Past with Robert Mitchum. He's excellent.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you haven't? Well, to me,
No.
if I had to describe what is the perfect film noir, it'd be Out of the Past.
Okay.
It has everything I love about it.
Over Double Indemnity?
I don't know if you saw my review for that, but I don't like that one.
You don't like that one? Wow. Okay.
Well,
because that's the one that one and like The Third Man are the two most probably like I'd say the best regarded, the most critically acclaimed of the noirs.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Double Indemnity is bad. I just don't. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't like the main character. He is a fucking idiot, and I know the protagonists in film noirs fall for the femme fatales, but like in his case, he literally is like, "Nah, I'm not interested." Then like a scene there's like, "Actually, you know what? I want to fuck you," and then he just ruins his life. It's like, what, dude, did you just? Why didn't you just go jerk off? You would have been fine. Yeah. It, and The Third Man I love, except the music is bad. The music is not good. It doesn't fit the film. It sounds like SpongeBob. I don't like it. And people defend it, which I understand why, because it's very strange. It makes it seem like it's dreamlike. But for me, I just hear SpongeBob. And it's not the film's fault. It's more my fault because I grew up with SpongeBob and so did you. But the music in that movie is just... Why did they choose that? Why was that?
I will say that it doesn't really fit the tone
at all.
The music in the movie. Yeah, it doesn't fit the tone.
Like the brilliant sewer scenes where Orson Welles is running away and the camera's tilted and it's intense. You hear this like doon 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 doon. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? Why is this like SpongeBob music in this shit? I don't understand. It's bad.
Yeah, it's a strange choice. I'll give you that. But I think that movie's just shot so beautifully.
Oh, it is.
That has some of the best cinematography I've ever seen.
Good story, good acting. Everything about it is great except the fucking music. And for me, we talked about this in our first episode, music is very important. And if the music is bad or just bland, then it really knocks down the bar for me because I'm not as interested, because I'm not as invested, because the music isn't elevating the story like it should. And I'm not saying every film has to be like that. Sometimes the music can just be good.
Yeah.
But in that case, it distracts me so bad. It's like, wow, they went forward and this doesn't work for me, I guess.
I do think that's probably Orson Welles' best work. Maybe at least as an actor.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do like Touch of Evil. Aside from oh god, what's his name? The lead actor,
Charlton Heston playing a Mexican.
Charlton Heston playing a Mexican is one of the most hilarious things.
That movie frustrates me to my core because the whole time his wife is in danger, and she like keeps like trying to get his help, and he's like, "Not now, honey. I'm in the middle of a crime." And like I'm like, bro, if you pay attention slightly, you would realize that she's in danger. Why don't you cut the bullshit? He's one of the worst protagonists I've ever seen in a movie.
He's so funny.
Ever.
He's so unintentionally funny in that movie.
Yeah, and not in a good way.
He's obviously he's playing like a Mexican guy, but he speaks zero words. Like he'll say he'll throw like a muchacho or something like that. Like here or there, it's so fucking hilarious.
And then Orson Welles comes in like, you fucking Mexican cholos and like, you talking to him? That dude is clearly in blackface. What do you mean, Orson Welles? That is not a Mexican man. That is an American.
There are real Mexican actors in the background, too.
I know. And back to back, it's like, one of these, what is the meme? One of these things is not like the other. That's exactly what I think when I watch that fucking movie. Oh, my God.
By the way, we need to one day talk about Charlton Heston just overall as a career, because that guy was so... I mean, he was a really good actor, but so over the top.
Yeah.
I enjoy the shit out of him. Like, I still love the original Planet of the Apes. I'm not sure if you've seen Soylent Green. Soylent Green's pretty awesome.
Okay, gotta check that one out.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of good ones. It's just, I guess he's from a very specific time where you kind of have to play it up a little bit, and he does that in spades in most of his movies. It's pretty funny.
He sought out the role for Chief Brodey in Jaws. Like, he begged Spielberg for him to be in the movie. Like, he really wanted that part. Spielberg was ballsy enough to say, "No, bro, you're too big of a star. I want Roy Scheider." And I think...
You imagine him at 27 saying that to Charlton Heston.
At that time, the guy was in Planet of the Apes. And he made the right choice because obviously no one else could play Chief Brodey besides Roy Scheider. Unless they remake Jaws in the future. And I'm predicting this right now. If they ever remake Jaws in the future, which they're probably going to, Chris Pratt is going to play Chief Brodey because fuck me. I just know it. I don't want that to happen. I don't. He'd be the worst choice ever because they try to make him like be this everyday man, but he's not. He's Chris Pratt. Like in Jurassic World,
he's likable, but he plays the same character in every fucking movie.
Yeah, he'd be a terrible Chief Brodey. I know that's going to happen. I'm just going to die. I won't see it. But yeah,
it's, you know what though, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Get remade. When Spielberg dies, they're gonna remake it. That's just how it is. Which
I'm already dreading it. But I mean, I'll say this: I kind of get it. It has been borderline 50 years. Yeah. I don't mind when they remake a movie and it's been that long. I only get annoyed when it's like, oh, this movie came out like 16 years ago and they're remaking it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Child's Play. I didn't see it either. I didn't want to see it.
No, yeah, it's not good. I saw it. It's not good.
Especially because, like, the boy looks like he's 13. But, like, why are you playing with a doll, bro? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's a tech company. I've watched some things on it. It's a tech company, but here's this random ginger doll. Here, do you guys want... You want a smart house? Here's this fucking ginger doll. Put this in the middle of the room. It can watch things for you. Who the fuck would buy that? Who thought that was a good idea?
Nobody.
Who thought that was a good idea? Fuck that movie. I didn't even see it. I don't even care. I'm not going to see it.
I think what's going to hurt the most is that they're going to remake Jaws with like a CGI shark.
Oh, yeah. They're going to remake Jaws with a CGI shark, and it's just going to be bad.
You've seen Deep Blue Sea, right?
Yeah. It's really great.
I enjoy that movie, and it's got some awful CGI sharks in it, but whenever they actually put the real, like, you know... Because they do have like a real like shark's head or something. I mean, it's not a real shark, but like what I assume is a prosthetic or whatever. That actually looks legit. Mm-hmm. If they use something like that for a remake, then I'd be like, well, okay, at least it wouldn't look terrible. But it's gonna happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back on topic. We both said we like horror, so I just recently wrote a piece like yesterday about why I love horror movies in the month of October. But I'll summarize horror for me. It's so interesting that it's so popular because if you think about it, it's a very fucked up genre, you know? Like,
totally.
If you're an alien, you come onto Earth and you see people watching like a Friday the 13th film and Jason's just smacking some bitch against a tree, they'd probably be like, what the fuck? And they were over here like, yeah, Jason, this is so fun. Like, what? But it's just, we love it, you know? It's hard to explain why. I just like being scared is what I boiled down to it. And horror movies obviously are like the unknown, mysterious, scary things, you know?
Like, imagine trying to explain to somebody, like, if somebody has never seen a movie before, and the first thing you show them was, like, Cannibal Holocaust or, like, the Human Centipede. Can you imagine trying to explain something like that?
Or Salo.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, fuck. Like, how do you even explain it? I think it boils down to I think for most people, it's the same reason why they like roller coasters or like skydiving is that you seek the thrill. You want to get your blood pumping. You know what I mean? You want to get excited.
Yeah.
For me, it's slightly more of a negative thing. I think there's so many awful things that happen in real life that I want to get away from that stuff. I'm like, all right, let me go watch a zombie movie and take my fucking head away from all the horrible shit that's happening on the news.
Yeah.
That's why I do think it's funny because like my girlfriend is like, we'll not watch a horror movie, and she'll ask me like, how can you watch this? And I'm like, you know, how do you just live in the world and think that all that is cool? Like I'd much rather think about, you know, some really awesome, you know, death in a vampire movie where somebody gets decapitated where I know it's fake.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, you know, some random school shooting that happened, you know, a week ago.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think it's distracting, and then, you know, I think also just thinking, I mean, being horror fans, we like to think about the way films are made. I like thinking about, wow, I wonder how they pulled this off. I like, you know, getting to the center of how they create all these films. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah. And horror has like, I mean, when horror movies try to be realistic, it usually fails. But for one example for me that really works well is the Blair Witch Project, because that was like the start of the found footage. But it still has a fantastical element to it with the witch. And that's what I think helps make it work, being so creepy. Because do I want to believe that witches are real? Yes. I want to believe that these fantastical things are real, but are they? I don't know. Realistically, no. It doesn't seem like it's possible that they are real, but it's the little fantastical elements. Like, you know, we talked about this. My favorite horror film is Halloween 3. The most ridiculous, over-the-top, stupid sci-fi horror movie. It's got some stupid, crazy shit, and I love it. Like the scene where the guy gets his head popped off like a wine cork. I love it. The music and the shot. It's fun. It's great. It's horrifying. And when Emily first watched it, she was like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, yeah. But it's a film, you know. It's like an exaggerated version of life, you know, with horror. There's so many different subgenres too, and I think that's why we love it so much too.
And well, I'm sure we'll talk more about that one later. But I do love I love the Halloween, the aspect of Halloween 3 that is it's like you said, it's so over the top, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I love. Well, the score is amazing. I fucking love the score.
Best score
ever.
The score
is fantastic. It's fucking brutal too, though. I mean, the way some kids die pretty horribly in that.
Yeah.
And the way the dad, you know, the pops gets his head basically crushed inward, or his nose gets pulled out of its socket. Almost.
I know. Jeez.
I'm like, oh my god, that's such a horrible way to go.
I know. It's painful. It's fucking brilliant.
Brutal. It's awesome though. You know, there's so many twists and turns here and there. Obviously, no spoilers for people that haven't seen it, but it's awesome. It's a great movie. I love introducing people to that one. Just being like, just keep in mind, there's no Michael Myers in this, despite the title.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the flaw with the movie that most people have. You know, the problem they have with it is that it's called Halloween.
Michael Myers. Well, here's fucking 10 more movies with your fucking precious baby, and they're fucking the same thing. Sorry. We'll get to this conversation.
Realistically, they should have just called it Season of the Witch.
Yeah, I know.
That's really what they should have done.
One reason why I love it is because it's called Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I just love the title.
It's a cool title.
Yeah.
I totally get why they did it. They did it more so for marketing to be like, well, this is part of the franchise, so come and check this out.
Yeah.
But it's also a horror movie, and I don't think horror movies don't really need a lot of marketing. People want to go see a horror movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. And I love that there's so much different kinds of horror out there. Like, you have this new wave with Robert Eggers and Jordan Peele and Ari Aster. But then you also get, like we talked about James Wan. He still comes in with, like, hey, let's watch a weird fucking movie, Malignant. We get those. And now, of course, we're getting more, like, nostalgic Halloween kills, and then we got the new Scream. Not Scream 5, because fuck me, it's just Scream. Courtney Cox said it's not a remake, it's not a reboot, it's not a sequel. What the fuck is it then? What is it, Courtney Cox? I'm not looking forward to that.
That makes no fucking sense.
I am not excited for it. I know the Ready or Not guys are doing it, which gives me hope, because Ready or Not is great. They have a lot of energy behind that film, and I hope they bring that to Scream. I hope they kill off all the main characters. Please kill off all of them. I'm so sick of them. They should have died already. They should have fucking died in Scream 3. Dewey should have died in Scream 2. Courtney Cox should have died in Scream 3. And Sidney should have died in Scream 4. I'm sorry. I know we all love them, but it's boring. Like, I hope the introduction for Scream 5, I'm calling it that, I don't care, is Sidney dying. That'd be like, oh, fuck yeah. So it's ballsy. Please. And we just get something new, because Scream 4 is so fucking boring. Scream 3 is bad. Scream 1 and 2 are good, though.
You know what? We'll disagree on Scream. I like Scream 4.
I think it's mid as fuck. I'd rather watch Midsommar over Scream 4. I just don't like... I don't get the appeal.
Midsommar is the definition of mid right there.
Oh, man. But that's what I'm saying. Horror has so much to it. Like, we could just have a discussion just on horror. Like, that's how popular, great, just... I'm so glad it's a thing, because it just seems like on paper that no one would like this, that Christians would line up with picket signs saying this is a sin, which they do, which is kind of funny. But like, I'm so glad it's so popular, Well,
and you know what? They will every once in a while. Somebody will release like The Exorcist, and then you'll have people who try and protest it.
Right.
Which I do think is really funny.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like, wow, these people are really that. Bothered by just a movie. That's pretty funny. Okay.
Yeah, that's the crowd. That's the crowd that's like, movies cause violence. Joker's gonna cause a mass shooting. No, the fuck it did. It made $1 billion without China, and there was nothing. Joker caused nothing besides, I guess, someone got spit on in the lobby. Has nothing to do with Joker, but I loved how the media was like, Joker's so dangerous, and I watched them like, how is this dangerous? It's just a fucking...
No, I remember people being like, oh my god, should we go opening weekend? What if something happens? I was like, nothing's gonna happen. I'm like, you're more likely to get shot at a school than you are at a movie theater watching the Joker.
Which is sad.
That's awful.
Which is sad.
And it's true, though. Yeah.
So I think we should move on to least favorite, because this is where it gets interesting. And I hope you don't mind if I could just start things off.
Go for it.
My least favorite of all time is fantasy. Lord of the Rings. It's just an example. I like Lord of the Rings. Before any of our not listeners care, Lord of the Rings is what I mean. Like, I don't care about knights and kings and prophecies and there's a evil wizard with the giant vagina in the sky who wants to destroy everything, and it's like, I don't care, because I know it's gonna happen. The good guys and the bad guys will fight, and the good guys will win. And yes, people will say, that's not the point, it's the journey, and you're right. And I still thought the journey was just fine. So I don't know. Even with the Green Knight, I'm like, this is really well shot, but I don't like the story because it's the same shit I've seen before. Prophecies, you must fulfill your destiny. The Green Knight even, have you seen that, by the way?
I still haven't seen that.
Okay, I won't say anything. I won't spoil it, sorry. Green Knight, same, it's just fantasy, it's just not for me. I never liked the Dungeons and Dragons, like, the geeky knight who buffs up just so he can fuck the princess. I just don't care. I may sound exaggerated.
And I love Dev Patel, but even from the start, I looked at the trailers for that and I just wasn't really sold on it. That's why I never really saw it. I was like, maybe I'll wait till it's on VOD or something.
Beautifully shot, man. I mean, really, like, wow. But like, I was just like I was watching a book, just someone scrolling through a book. That's how it felt like.
Do
With
you
the
like?
story.
Because you said you don't like fantasy as a whole. Do you like the Princess Bride?
Um, I mean, I guess it's not the same as the other ones. It has that like energy to it, but like I don't know,
It's got a
it's
little bit of
fine.
comedy, quite a bit of comedy, if anything.
If anything, I'd like Monty Python
And the Holy Grail?
because they
Yeah,
make
that's a great one.
fun of it. That's why I like it because it's just so like they say yes, this is stupid, and we're going with it. I love that. I'm like that movie is so quotable too. Oh my god, yeah, like that shit or
It's a good one. Yeah.
like I haven't seen it. I can't now because I had to spoil it, but I would watch Game of Thrones because I heard that takes the tropes and says, fuck it, this is different. And I like that aspect, but I already know what happens at the end because Twitter spoiled it for me, but whatever, I don't even care. But like,
I will say, I think you should watch it. I think it's worth the watch.
mm-hmm.
And I disagree with it because some people are like, well, if you don't have a good ending, it ruins the rest of the show. I'm like, that's just wrong. If the rest of the show is fantastic and just the last couple episodes you don't like, it means it was a great show with a bad ending. That's all it is, but it's still a great show. And
Yeah.
that's how I feel about Game of Thrones.
Okay. So fantasy for me is my number one. I just never cared. There hasn't been one that just stuck out. I get Monty Python doesn't count. That's a parody, even though it's great.
Yeah.
My second least favorite is sci-fi, and this is like me saying I don't like a whole continent because sci-fi is so broad. There are some I like The Matrix is awesome. I love Blade Runner and the sequel. I have a confession. I don't like sci-fi horror. I know Alien's good, but like that has been done so many times at this point where you're in a spaceship and there's something after them. I just don't care. And Archer did a good job doing a parody of it. I just don't care.
Oh, you're with me, right? You're with me in that you don't like James Cameron because I've never been a James Cameron fan.
No, I'm not. There's not one of his films that I really like besides The Abyss, even though he almost killed Ed Harris, so that kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth. But no, Aliens is fine.
T2?
T2 is fine. I don't know. I mean, I guess the first Terminator is cool because it's like before it turned into a big clusterfuck of stupid franchise. It's just a good idea and pretty well made, and Arnold's scary. So I guess the first Terminator I would give a 6 or a 7. That's the highest I'd go. But sci-fi, dude, I don't know if I'm not like intellectual enough to care, or I don't know. I'm just not big on sci-fi.
No, I don't think it's an intellectual thing. I think we just have our preferences here and there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. So those are my two least favorites.
Okay, so I'll go with. I really only have one genre that I just can't stand, and it's musicals.
Ooh. Okay.
I just can't fuck with like somebody's having a real conversation and then all of a sudden everybody around them breaks into song. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
That's a very acquired taste, and I'm with you on that. That'd probably be my third. I mean, it's not technically a musical. It's more of a music movie, but All That Jazz is an exception where it takes kind of that genre, and you've seen it. And then it just blows into this artsy, beautiful made film.
Yeah, I don't even know do you consider it a musical? It's so good. It's so fucking great.
It has musical elements, like the third act has that when he's
Yeah, maybe the third act.
Technically, it's technically one. I like Grease. I mean, come on, Grease is great.
All right, Grease is good. I like Grease.
Grease is
so I'll say this. I don't like you. I don't like the genre overall, but there are a handful of exceptions here and there. Like I like Singing in the Rain. I like recently Rocket Man. That was a good one.
Oh yeah, Rocket Man is a great example because it takes the genre and flips it on its head with like this. It's a musical, but like they use his music, even if it doesn't make sense. They use it, and it just works. I love that. That's a great film. Great.
It's really cool
movie.
Visually too. They do a lot of stuff visually when the music starts. It's not just like random singers in the background or something. Like they'll do something real creative with the scene in general. Like people will start floating in the midair. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Oh, that's a great scene in the underwater scene where he sings Rocket Man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Part.
That's why all that stuff is great. But I'm talking more specifically like Les Miserables. I can't fucking stand that movie.
Yeah, that's because they tried singing in real life.
None of them can sing either.
Yeah, Russell Crowe
none of them can sing either.
Can't sing. Oh my god. They were
Oh,
so prideful, and we all sang this on cue and on the set. I mean, Hugh Jackman's talented; he can sing very well, but not Russell Crowe or Anne Hathaway, and she won an Oscar because she paid $1 million for one. Yeah, not for me.
Yeah, and then the one I always get shit for, and I'm sure you'll
La
know.
La Land. I was gonna ask you about this.
I fucking hate La La Land.
Yeah.
I just think it's so mopey and so. I like the opening. The opening is cool.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I don't even. I used to like to get into fights with people just because I thought it was funny. I wouldn't take it seriously.
Troll like Matt.
So I would just, I'd poke the bear. I'd
Yeah.
just like poke at people, like, oh god, this movie's awful, isn't it? But it's not really that bad. It's it's a well-made movie. It's just not for me. I just can't. I just never really liked it.
I mean,
it's
yeah.
I don't know.
No, I get it.
You go for it.
I like it. Is it Damien Chazelle's best? No fucking way.
Worse.
Whiplash and First Man are excellent. For me, Emily loves La La Land, so I've seen it a few times with her, and it's well made. I mean, he won the Best Director Oscar fair and square. I mean, that had to have been super hard to shoot. I bet they're really hard to choreograph and shoot. In terms of technical, it's great. The story's fine. I like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. They have really great chemistry. Emma Stone is good, but does she deserve to win an Oscar over the snubbed Amy Adams? Fuck no. Like, she just played herself. That's like Arlie Ermey winning an Oscar for fucking Full Metal Jacket. Like, she's playing herself. So is that really acting? I don't know. Yeah. I guess so, but yeah.
She wasn't the only one that got. I feel like. Have you seen 20th Century Women?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen that.
Oh, dude. I think all 4 of the women in that deserved an Oscar, and obviously you can't do that, but like, they're all amazing, and I thought they all had better performances than she did. But I was like, well, okay, this isn't gonna be the darling of the fucking Academy this year. It's gonna be La La Land. Sure enough, it was La La Land and Moonlight that pretty much were sweeping the Oscars that year.
I was shocked that La La Land lost, not because it's better. Because it is a super big circle jerk for Hollywood. It's all about Hollywood. Totally. It's all about the dream. It's all about how if you're good enough, you're successful. I'm so glad Moonlight won. Fucking deserved it. Even though I would have preferred either Hell or High Water or Arrival, Moonlight deserved that shit in spades. I'm shocked La La Land lost. I really thought the Academy would be boring and pick that.
Yeah, I will say that to this day, one of the best Oscar moments ever.
Fucking Faye Dunaway's too blind from her Botox to see that it said Emma Stone. I try to be mean, but like, what's his face? Warren Beatty just looked at it confused.
Warren Beatty just had like a seizure.
All he had to do was say, just put the card down, say, guys, this is the wrong card. Let me get the right one. Like, I mean, that'd have been embarrassing, but like, because he just looked confused and showed Faye Dunaway, and her fucking Botox ass was like, La La Land, and then everyone was like, ooh, and then they were like, actually, it's not La La Land. And that was I saw that live, and that was fucking awesome. Like, wow.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But yeah, musicals, I'm with you, man. I mean, not for me. Just they're too. I'm a pessimist, so they're kind of cheery for me, except for Grease. Grease is just a fun movie, catchy songs.
Yeah, Grease is cool. I think it depends too. I feel like we grew up. Because you and I are born the same year. We're born like a month apart, right?
Yeah,
I was
95.
born December 95. Yeah. So, like, we grew up in, like, the Disney Channel era. Mm-hmm. So, there are certain, like, when I was a kid, I liked, like, the High School Musical movies.
Yeah, I like those, too. I'll admit that. They were good. Catchy songs, good acting.
Good. Yeah, they're cool. They're fine. I like them. I guess it just really depends on the type. Like, I don't like Fiddler in the... Have you seen Fiddler in the Roof? I think it's annoying.
I like it because John Williams did the music.
Music is good. I'll give you that.
He won an
John
Oscar
Williams
for it, too. Which is
he won an
random.
Oscar, yeah. It's weird that's one of his Oscars. But, yeah, I mean... I just don't fuck with them. And I'll say that. That's my first one, and if I had to pick a second one... I'll say like maybe the over-the-top goofy comedies.
Oh, like Adam Sandler. He's not over the top. I know what you mean though. Like Daddy Day Camp and shit like that.
Yeah, like
kids
because and I can't even totally say that about all of those goofy movies because like I like Dumb and Dumber. I think that movie's hilarious.
Yeah.
I like There's Something About Mary. Those are over the top.
Yeah.
but like I can't stand like the parody movies, like epic
Oh,
movies,
those are just
superhero
garbage.
movies. All of
Garbage.
these, yeah, they're awful, and I'm just like, dude, I don't get why people like this. This is just dumb. I get it why my 6-year-old nephew likes this,
Yeah.
but like, why?
Yeah.
I just don't think it's funny. There's just some really bad comedies out there. There are so many more bad comedies than good ones.
Yeah. All by far.
It's like 100 to 1
Comedies
when
are
you get a
hard to
good one.
do. They're so hard because comedy is
Yeah.
subjective. Like that's why I respect comedians so much, stand-up comedians, because they have to
Oh,
make
yeah.
the whole room laugh, and they're just good at it. Like I've been listening to Bill Burr is my favorite, then Tom Segura, he's fucking hilarious, and comedy is really hard to do. So I respect those guys. And another genre, I don't think this is an official genre, but I never got into John Hughes 80s rom-coms. They're not for me. Like Breakfast Club, 13 Candles, they're just not. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying that. Just not for me. Because I've seen them all. I'm like, I don't get the appeal. I don't know. I guess I just wasn't born in the 80s. And Molly Ringwald is not that good looking in those movies. No offense to her. She seems like a nice lady, but, just not for me.
I'll say this: I like that genre. They're super flawed. I love The Breakfast Club, but I don't really like Ferris the way a lot of people do.
Oh, he did Ferris? I didn't know that.
Oh, do you like Ferris?
It's fine. I mean, the only John Hughes film I really can get behind are the vacation films. He wrote what I think is the funniest film ever made, which is Christmas Vacation. And that movie
Vacation's really good, yeah.
It never will not be funny to me. So I like John Hughes and respect him. I just can't get into his 80s rom-coms,
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give you that one. Like I said, Breakfast Club is really just one of my all-time favorites. But aside from that, like I'm not a big Uncle Buck guy.
Oh my god, Uncle Buck! I forgot about that one.
I know.
John Candy's good though.
He did the Home Alones, but like,
oh,
the first two Home Alones are cool. But that's when he had moved past the teenage shit and went back to like the kid stuff.
I think his best film that he directed is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That is a fantastic movie.
That's a great one.
Enough people talk about.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
It's funny. John Candy's great. It's so over the top and how this guy just can't get home, but it's so heartfelt. It's sad. It's great. That might be my favorite of his. And I watched my dad.
That's an all-timer.
Loves that movie.
Yeah.
So is my brother.
That's one of my mom's favorite movies.
Yeah, that's a great one. So it's not that John Hughes is bad. He's obviously very well respected and made some good shit. His other shit's just not for me.
Yeah, that's a very specific genre. I'll say this, because now you've just reminded me of another genre that I used to really like that I just don't see anymore. Is like the kind of raunchy, like high school, borderline college films.
Oh, like the Netflix films.
No, not even those. I'd say like the super bads.
Oh, Seth Rogen
Euro
films.
Trip. Yeah, those kinds of I just enjoy those. I think they're kind of stupid too, which is really funny, just fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I can enjoy one of those movies. Yeah.
Oh, I know one we both would agree on that we both would like is white savior movies.
Oh yeah.
Driving Miss Daisy, Green Book.
Jesus.
Those like, I'm gonna go into a black neighborhood and teach them that if you can just be a little white, you can be a good person. And it's so fucked up. Like, no, that's awful.
Driving Miss Daisy, I remember hearing so much because it got so much Oscar love.
Yeah, it won Best Picture. Richard Zanuck, who produced Jaws, produced that, and I mean, that was before he died, so maybe he just was senile. But oof,
I don't know, but
rough.
like that's why that was one of those where I was like, oh, I'm excited to watch this because I've heard so much great shit about it. I watched it and I was like, wow, this really wasn't that good.
No, it's pretty bad, and oof.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oof, man. Yeah, just one of those. You're like, wow,
yeah.
That's definitely a movie from, that's the 90s. That beat out Spike Lee's
like
movie.
88.
Right?
Yeah, it's like late 80s.
That was Spike Lee's year where he made, I haven't seen it, I Know I Need To, which is Do the Right Thing. And I know he was upset that lost to Driving Miss Daisy.
That not win?
I need to see that. You should recommend that sometime because I would definitely want to watch that.
That's a great one. Yeah.
I need to expand my Spike Lee watches.
Spike Lee's got some really good ones. I have a complicated relationship with some of his movies because he seems really cool. He sometimes can seem like a dick. I don't know.
That's most
Like just
filmmakers,
in life.
especially
If you
Tarantino.
ever look at, yeah, that's why he's got a random. I know you don't like Tarantino, but he has a real issue with Tarantino, and I just don't get it. I
Because
don't get why you
Tarantino
hate
says the N
Tarantino.
word in his movies, which I can see Spike Lee being like, come on, man, like you shouldn't be doing that.
Even
Because
Samuel L. Jackson, who's friends with both of them, is like, dude, it's all right.
it's definitely like a pick your side, like who you think is right kind of thing. I honestly don't
Yeah.
care. I mean,
I think I just pick Tarantino because I think he's the better filmmaker. I think that's honestly what it is.
did you see what he recently said about his like foot fetish exposure?
No, what did he say?
Oh, I don't have the exact term, but he basically tried to defend himself by saying like, "Oh, it's just cinema, bro." And we're like, "No, man, just admit you like feet. Who cares? Like, you're making yourself look worse because,
It's not a big deal.
like, come on, man. It's obviously a global thing because it has its own name. It's called foot fetish. Like, that's how
Yeah.
big it is. Like, dude, don't have no shame. Like what you like, unless you're a pedophile or a Nazi, then you can fuck
He
off."
had Salma Hayek's feet in his mouth until dusk till dawn.
Fucking freak. Oh my god.
I don't blame him for that one though, because that's Salma Hayek. But still,
um. Well, do you want to anything else you can think of? Otherwise, we can move on to the film recommendation.
you got anything else? I think we're good.
No, I think
Again, I
pretty
think
good.
we're gonna revisit certain topics anyway, because we went through a lot of movies that I think we're gonna have to come back to later on.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely have to do like a Denis Villeneuve because would love to talk about Sicario. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about Sicario all day.
I agree. We should definitely do that. So, you can introduce the film you recommended and the plot, and we can just dive right into the thoughts on the film.
So what was it? Maybe 2 weeks ago, I recommended to Brody that he check out one of a movie that I've been watching since I was pretty young, probably too young, honestly, 12 or 13. Which is A History of Violence, David Cronenberg film, one of his most highly regarded. And basically the basic synopsis is that a guy who performs a very brave act where he stops a couple of people from robbing his diner that he owns, starts getting harassed by some guys from the mob, from organized crime on the East Coast, from Philly. And they claim that he's apparently somebody that they used to know, and he says he has no idea what the hell they're talking about. That's the basic synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but I fucking love this movie. I think it's great. You go ahead. Take it away. What you think?
Spoilers on this film from here on.
Yes, totally.
So, I don't think you saw my review. I actually didn't write a review. I rated it. So, okay, I'll start off by saying this. I like it. I think it's...
Uh-huh.
I would say it's good. The introduction caught my attention. Very, very dark introduction. Like, oh my god, like that's crazy. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. So as it went on, I'm like, it's just kind of like how I felt about Eastern Promises. Like, oh, this story just isn't interesting. But then we get to that great scene where he kills those two psychos, and then it picks up again. But then it starts to fucking dive down again, and then I'm like, oh my god. Then Ed Harris comes in. Oh fuck yeah, Ed Harris, who might be my favorite performance besides William Hurt, which I'll get to in a second.
They're so good. They're both so great there.
They're so over the top that they brought so much energy to this overall okay story. And as it went on, he finally goes to William Hurt, which might be my favorite part because he is so ridiculous. He is a cartoon character, a complete and utter cartoon character. And
he got nominated too. He only has like 10 minutes in the movie, if not less.
He
nominated.
did?
Yeah,
Fuck
he got nominated.
Yeah. That makes me happy because like this whole movie is very serious, very, very, very tense, very, very. We got come on, guys. We can't fuck around with this. Is serious. Then you get William Hurt's like, "Hey, brother, how's it going? You know, like you fucking disappointed me." And what's he says? How do you fuck that up? I died laughing. That was so great. And he just comes in. He's like, you know what? This movie's stupid. I'm gonna play this shit fucking so over the top, and I loved it. And then he, of course, dies because. Man, Viggo Mortensen can kick some ass. And after I'm like, oh, that was good. You know, it was a solid 3 out of 5. I don't know, man. I don't know if it was the story, but for me, it's something I've seen before. I can't name a movie exactly pinpoint, but it's like, oh, it's about the guy who has a dark past, And actually, it's like out of the past. Spoilers. So yeah, so I've seen that before, and I'm just like, I don't know. It just all the family drama. I just didn't fucking care. I didn't care about his family. I didn't care about his Maria Bello, who's great in Prisoners. I liked Viggo Mortensen. Well, I just didn't care. I liked when the mob came in because they were just so over the top and like just brought so much energy to this overall just fine story.
I will say I disagree with you on the it getting slow, only because it's kind of like a quick 95 minutes.
Yeah,
pretty short movie. I think it kind of flies by, and if anything, I actually wish they had kept Ed Harris in it more because I loved Ed Harris in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes in, and I don't think he's over. I think you're right with William Hurt. He's going for it, and I love every second of it.
Yeah,
but he kind of comes in and is very tame. It's just sort of like you know me.
Yeah,
like when he's talking to, and it's so subtle, and I'm like, oh man. And in my head, I remember seeing this as a kid. Again, I think this came out 2006. I didn't see it in theaters. I probably saw it. I think I remember renting it on Blockbuster, maybe a couple months later. But I remember specifically Ed Harris, trying to, convince him and tell him, no, I know you. Mm-hmm. And to this day, I'm like, man, that's a pretty good. I don't know if it's a twist because maybe everybody expected, okay, he's definitely this guy that he's pretending not to be. But for a while there, the first time I saw it, I was like, no, I don't think this is it. He's way too tame. Mm-hmm. And then one of my favorite lines that Ed Harris gives is why don't you ask your husband why he's so good at killing people? Why he's so good at killing people? I'm like, damn, he's not wrong.
Yeah, no, he's great. And I don't mean over the top in a bad way. He comes in with that fucking scar on his face, and he's just like, you're the fucking guy. He's just like, I just love his assertity. You're the fucking guy. I know you're the guy. And Viggo Mortensen's like, no, I'm not the guy. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's just so quiet. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm just heartless or I just wasn't connected, but all the family stuff where he was just trying to convince his wife that he's not the guy. I'd been like, dude, you're the fucking guy. Quit bullshitting. You're making this worse. And his wife, who I felt bad for, and I just didn't give a fuck. I honestly don't even know the kids' names. I forgot. I actually don't remember her name. I don't remember her name. I know his name was Tom, and it was really Joey.
Tom Stahl. The Stalls.
And I don't know if I have a hatred of small towns because I grew up in a small town, and I fucking hate that cliche where you grew up in a small town, so you gotta stay there and open a business, and your kids go to the same school, you go to the high school football games. No, I hate that shit to my core. I don't know if that left a sour taste in my mouth or something, but whenever the villains weren't on screen, I did not care. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's just Cronenberg, because I just have a bad track record with him so far. I don't know if it's just the story was too similar to things I've seen before. I don't know if it was just if the main characters were just boring. I don't know. I just was bored until Ed Harris and John Hurt.
The least interesting part of the movie is definitely the family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the son, only because you need to show the son because you need to show that the fact that the son has a dark side to him.
Oh yeah.
Just to show okay, there's something there. This is a seed that's been planted in him. Maybe even subconsciously, maybe he was just born with this shit, but he gets this from his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where you start to figure out that there is something wrong with them, not specifically because of Tom, but because of the son.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And I love that scene with the bully in the beginning where the bully's trying to get him to fight, and he's like, dude, all right, you win, I lose. You're the alpha male, I'm the pussy. What more do you want? And the boy's just so mad because he wants to fight him. And the son's like, dude, just why? You win. I don't know what you want from me. I loved that scene. I don't know. It's so small and minute, especially because the bully
it's a great scene.
Then flips off by the way, the two killers in the beginning are
awesome.
Awesome.
They're great.
Very tense. Yes. The older guy, I forgot his name. He's in so many good movies. He's in Watchmen. He's in Born to Be Blue, a favorite of mine. He's in so many good things. The movie Watchmen, not the show. And that intro, it was interesting because I was so yearning for more because we just got that one shot basically where they're coming out of the hotel, and I go, all right, go take the keys back, and I'm gonna go, and then and the camera follows him driving. I'm like, what's going on? And then it cuts the young kid going to get water, and then there was no wide shot. I'm like, give me a wide shot so I can fucking breathe. And then he moves from the camera, and then we see the dead body. Oh, that really got me. Then that little girl comes out, and he's like, and he pulls a gun. I'm like, holy shit. And then he shoots her, and then it cuts to Viggo Mortensen, who's very quiet, and he's like, hey, honey, are you okay? It's okay. It's just a night. And he was great. I'm not making fun of him. I like Viggo Mortensen. He's a good actor. He was good in this one. The problem is he was just so stale. It kind of fits his last name, Stahl, that the other actors, Ed Harris and John Hurt especially, were just so standouts because they were so like, they had so much energy. And I just felt like the drama family scenes just had no energy. They were just like, yes, they were vital. They were important. We needed those scenes. But for me, I'm like, come on, like, Cronenberg, do like something. Like
I'll say this. To be fair, he was supposed to be kind of dry.
Yeah.
Like he was supposed to, like, you know, that was done with design. I'll say this in terms of the family scene, the where she's when she's frustrated and she's crying on the steps and kind of like fucks her.
Yeah.
That scene felt a little rapey.
Yeah, that was yeah, I was
uncomfortable, yeah. Right?
But I think that was the purpose.
It's an uncomfortable scene.
Because Joey is coming out of him in that scene. And
yes.
I like that we see more of Tom than Joey. Even though it would have been more fun to see Viggo Mortensen just going absolutely berserk like he was in Eastern Promises. Best part of that movie, by the way. But he was, but in the action scenes were well shot. I loved how it wasn't over the top. It easily could have been. I mean, yeah, it kind of was when he beat that guy's nose in. We got some great Cronenberg gore. The gore and the effects were really great. All
when he beats that guy's nose upward, it's fucking unreal.
And I'm not like this mindless popcorn flick. Give me action. That's all I want. Show violence. No, I love. Like, dude, our last film we watched, Home Before Dark, is nothing but drama, nothing but dialogue. It's very quiet. There's no violence, but it's fucked up. I'm not against films like that, but in this case, I just wanted more out of the. I don't know if the character should have been more developed. I don't know if the purpose of the family was kind of just not as developed as it could have been, or it could have been more, or I just didn't care. Or
I think the movie could have been 20 minutes longer. You're right, with more, you know.
Yeah.
More Ed Harris, maybe a little bit more violence. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, not just violence, but like just more like of the family, because it jumps right in. Like it was like what 12 minutes in when the villains get killed. And I'm like, I think we needed more. I mean, we got that cheerleader sex scene, which was kind of interesting, but like that's about it. Then we know a little about the son, but the daughter is just like the daughter who screams when there's loud noises. Like she could have had more development.
Oh, the daughter's annoying as fuck. She's not good in this.
No. Oh, when I felt bad because that little girl in the beginning who got shot, the actress was not convinced, and that's not the girl's fault. Kid actors are very different.
She wasn't good either.
It's not the kid's fault. Kid actors get enough rep, get enough shit. They don't deserve it because they're kids. Come on. She wasn't very good, even though she got shot in the face. Oh my god, that was so fucked up. Like, it's not bad. It's definitely one of my favorite of Cronenberg. That's not saying a lot because I don't like his other films besides The Naked Lunch, which is excellent. But oh my god, the over-the-top scenes were great. Like that's my favorite scene besides John Hurt at the end was the scene with Ed Harris. They come to the house with the son. That was great. That was excellent.
That's probably my favorite scene of the movie. Yeah,
very intense, very very intense. They handle that so poorly. Those henchmen, like obviously he can kick ass. Why would you go near him? Just point a gun at him, get him on the ground.
I was gonna say point a gun at his. And to be fair, I think he does. It's when he finally raises it that he, you know, demolishes his nose.
Oh my god, it was so great. And I was surprised Ed Harris got shot by the son. That really got me like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. So that was great. And that poor kid, who was basically a pacifist at that point, had to kill somebody.
Yeah. He beats the fuck out of the bully, and then he comes home, gets slapped in the face by his dad, and has to shoot the guy.
Yeah.
You know, threaten his pops. It's cool. I don't know. He's pretty good though, and I haven't seen that kid actor, in a long time. But he used to be in a lot of stuff like the mid 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him in a while, but yeah. I'll say this: the last scene, the last 10 minutes with William Hurt. He, like we mentioned earlier, he fucking goes for it, and he is so good. He is so charismatic.
His voice is just it's like. When I look this up, I know who John Hurt is. He looks like an accountant. No offense to him. He's a good actor. But he looks like... I'm like, why did they pick him for this? Because because like he doesn't look like the guy who could do it, but boy was I wrong, and I'm glad I'm wrong. He came in ball swinging. Like at first I got vibes that he like raped his brother. Like he was so weird. Like he like butted heads, and he was like smiling like he was about to get laid. It was just very creepy and unsettling, and just sickening. But then he just, when he talks, he's got that shitty like goatee, like chin strap goatee. I love that. I love his look. His voice was great. I've seen that clip where he says, "How do you fuck that up?" I've seen that before, and I'm like, oh, it's from this movie. And he shoots the guy.
It's so good.
How do you fuck? His voice is so good.
He's got so many good lines in such a short amount of time too. He's like, I've never met one woman that would make me want to give up the rest of it. I'm like, oh, that's such a good line.
Yeah. Oh, he just made it for me, like, because the whole movie is very serious, very like, you know, a commentary on this type of shit. But then like you get to him, and he's like, "Nah, bro, fuck that. I'm gonna be like this over the top cartoon character." And he was so good. You're right, he taking an Oscar. That's excellent. Oh, I love it. He should have won. He should have won, man. Oh, it's so good.
I don't know who won that year, but it should have been him. We've seen people win, you know, with 10-minute screen times, like, you know, Mahershala Ali and
Moonlight,
you know,
yeah,
Moonlight, or you know, what was I going to say? Hannibal Lecter only has less than 20 minutes of screen time in Silence of the Lambs,
which is weird because he's in a lot of that movie. You know
what it is? I feel like, off topic, but I feel like in Silence of the Lambs, he feels like he's in so much more of it because the scenes are so intimate.
Yeah.
And they slowly zoom in on him every single scene more and more and more.
Yeah.
Like, his face is just so ingrained in your skull by the end of the movie that you're like, oh, he was in half of this movie, and then you realize, no, he's in like 15 minutes of it.
Oh, he is fucking excellent in that film.
Yeah.
I mean, just...
We should, and that's what, you know what, I'd love for us to do an episode on, like, actors who've had just, had a really short amount of screen time, but were super memorable.
Yeah. That'd be a good one.
Because there'd be a lot of them, and William Hurt is definitely going to be right up there too. We're going to definitely mention him.
Because at that point, before he showed up, I'm like, this is going to be a 2.5 out of 5, 5 out of 10. I'm just like, I'm just not connecting with it. There were some great little moments, like the action scenes and Ed Harris, but like, it's just fine. But then once William Hurt showed up, like, you know what? I have to bump this up a half star because he was so good that I would watch that movie again just to get to that part. I'm serious. Like, he really, and it's not because he was goofy, but like because his character had, what, like you said, less than 10 minutes of screen time, but he was so memorable. Like, I could name his characteristics, his like views, his ideology, his mannerisms, his look was fucking great. He should have had like earrings, like some like diamond studded earrings and like tattoos or something. Like, he was so funny. He brought so much life.
He was like, you know, he acknowledged, like, Joey, you're a sick fuck, when he brought up the fact that he tried to rip out Ed Harris's eye out with barbed wire.
He's like, you
sick fuck.
He's like, you were so convinced. I love the line where, I think it was Ed Harris who said, "You're so convinced of your lies that you actually think you're Tom Stahl." That was a good line.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good line. Yeah, I think Ed Harris and William Hurt, without them, this movie is not nearly as good.
No.
Not even close. They're, to me, the best part of the movie. And Ed Harris might be in less time than William Hurt. He's just in more scenes.
Yeah. Honestly, I've seen sorry, I just repeated myself. Cronenberg's body horror stuff. I haven't seen The Fly. I'm going to this month. But I've seen enough of his, like...
The Fly is probably his best.
I know, I'm going to watch that. But I've seen enough of his, like, what he was known for his body horror stuff, that he does put energy in those films. But this film, I felt like it could have been directed by any Joe Schmo, and it wouldn't have made a difference. I felt the direction was kind of uninspired. I know the action was subtle, which was nice, but like, I don't know, you could say not the Joe Cohen who made the fucking Garfield films directed. I'd be like, yeah, I can see it. I don't know. I didn't really feel like there really wasn't enough. I don't know if he was trying to be subtle.
It's easily the most tame Cronenberg movie.
And I'm not saying he has to be over the top, but like, he really just, I don't know if he brought anything to the table for me. Like, if you watch Naked Lunch, he puts his all in that shit. I mean, he puts all of his energy, his great talents behind the camera in that movie, because that movie is very strange. But in this one, I don't know if he was purposely trying to be like like a librarian or something, but it just was nothing. It just felt no energy behind it.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. I will take your critique even though I disagree with you. Because
Yeah.
we can actually do that without fighting.
No, yeah, and it's good. Like, you can come on here in a couple weeks and say, Brodey, Halloween 3 is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen. It's stupid. What's wrong with you? Why do you like this? Like, I totally understand what you mean, man. I get it. I totally. You can even say Jaws is bad, which I would have a heart attack. But I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Like I'd want to know why. But like in this case, I knew I didn't go in not wanting to like it. I was just hesitant because Cronenberg for me is what now 1 for 5. So I'm like, I'm just not into Cronenberg stuff, and
I didn't know you weren't a Cronenberg guy.
I mean, I haven't seen The Fly. I haven't seen. Well, I guess The Fly is his most well known film, so I got to see that. That looks like that's up my fucking alley because it's mad scientist Jeff Goldblum. I like the original Fly with Vincent Price.
Oh, it's pretty awesome. So, yeah, I think it's better than the original for sure.
Oh. Also, I have to mention this: the score by Howard Shore, who did the amazing scores for the Lord of the Rings films, was very underwhelming. Very, dude. I don't know why, but whenever I hear a clarinet in a score, I just instantly want to fall asleep. I like the instrument. In this movie, there's so much of that clarinet, and I'm not saying I don't like the clarinet. There are some films where the clarinet rocks, like in Jaws, but in this movie, they use the clarinet like Squidward would play the clarinet. Like, I just want to fall asleep. The score was so, not memorable, not very, not really elevating the film, just kind of there. Like, oh yeah, there's music. Huh.
It's more of a soothing type of like
massage music.
Did you hear this? Yeah. Did you hear this at a massage parlor?
Yeah, like in an elevator.
But I still really fucking love. Again, I think what was your score? What was your
3 out of 5 or 6 out of 10?
Okay, because for me,
which is a positive score. Sorry.
Yeah, totally. So for me, I usually go back and forth between like an 8 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. I love it. I grew up with it. It's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. And then fun fact: Viggo Mortensen, kind of a private guy. I'm not sure if you've ever seen him, like in interviews and stuff. He doesn't like when people go up to him and immediately go to like, "Oh my God, we loved you in the Lord of the Rings trilogy." What I do think is funny is that to this day, and he has said it in multiple interviews, his favorite film to shoot was A History of Violence. He thinks it's his best movie.
I mean, he's great.
Like, oh, okay, that's cool.
He's good. Just the problem is Ed Harris and John Hurt stand out more, and that's kind of bad when you have. It's hard to have a film like Jaws where you have all 3 leads are great. Robert Shaw, yes, he stands out, but Roy Scheider and Richard Dreyfuss are right there too. In this movie, I think it's because Mortensen is very reserved, which he does good at. He was very good at this role. The other 2 are just there. They're there. They're like, hey, I'm Ed fucking Harris. I'm John fucking Hurt, and this is our movie. Like that's how it felt for me. But he was still good. Mortensen, I like him. He's like a blank canvas. He can play anything, honestly.
Yeah, he's such an interesting. He's one of the few guys where I see his name attached to the movie, and I'm like, okay, I gotta watch it.
Like his name. What I mean? What the fuck does that even mean? Like, he's American, right?
I think so. I don't know.
Bet he's European.
It's an interesting name.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. I think he is American. I have it right here. Viggo Mortensen. That's quite the name. He was born in New York. Oh, he is American. Wow. Okay. He looks like he's a European though, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does look like he's got some like Irish blood or something in him.
Let me just say, he was great in Eastern Promises. He was really, really, really good. That was the year that Day-Lewis won for There'll Be Blood. By the way, look up that fucking cast of Oscar nominees for Best Actor. Holy shit, he was one of them. Eastern Promises is, I love the performance, but the story, I'd rather watch a tree grow. The story was so boring. It's like, wow, here is a person who wait, what the fuck even happens? I don't even remember.
I need to rewatch Eastern Promises. Yeah.
He was so good, but the story's like, wow, this is just like a monkey wrote this or something. I don't know, but even though it's got what's her face, I'm so sick. She's in Mulholland Drive.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Now I'm gonna have to.
Damn it! It's not Nicole Kidman. It's not her. Damn it!
No,
Let me see. I have it right here.
it's
It's
it's the from
oh,
the Ring. What's
Naomi
her name?
Watts.
Naomi
Naomi
Watts.
Watts. Yeah,
Yes.
she's great in that too. So, well, okay, you said you give this 8 or 8.5 out of 10. And look, to you and to anyone who's listening, even though no one listens to this, I can see why this is so popular. I can see why people say this is the greatest film ever made. I can see why people love it, and I'm glad people love it. I would not call this a bad film. I would not say, David, this is trash. It's not. It's good. It's just not for me.
This isn't Fellowship of the Ring, you know.
God, please don't recommend those. I don't want to watch those again. That was a long.
Oh, are you kidding
night.
me? Are you kidding?
That was
Never.
a long night, man. I shouldn't have watched those all in one night. To anyone who heard that, I watched all those in one night.
There are certain movies that they're so bad that I hated them, and I'm almost like I kind of want to rewatch it. Do you like Nicholas Winding Refn?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't like almost any of his movies except
really?
for like Bronson.
What about Neon Demon?
Yeah, I'm okay with Neon Demon.
That soundtrack though fucks hard.
And I like Bronson, and that's it.
The soundtrack in Neon Demon is a fucking banger though.
Oh, that's a good soundtrack. Yeah, I just don't like his. I don't think it's a style. I mean, because his actual direction is good. I think it's like the performances and whatnot that he gets out of his act. I just don't like it.
He can come off as very pretentious. I can see that, but I wouldn't call him pretentious. But I can see someone saying Drive is very pretentious. I can see it.
I've said this before. Only God Forgives might be the worst movie I've ever seen. I can't stand that movie.
Only God Forgives frustrates me to my core. I liked it. I think this was years ago. I gave it a 4 out of 5. That was years ago. Because of the score, and I watched Chris Stuckman's like essay on it. Film essay, and I agree with what he was saying. Though the mom character is one of the worst characters I've ever seen on screen. She was awful, horribly acted. Her dialogue was awful. She literally says, "My other son fucks better than Ryan Gosling." What? What is this?
Yeah,
it's bad.
I just can't do. I can't do that guy's movies.
I can see it though.
But I will say this because we were talking about Jaws not too long ago. I rewatched Jaws 2.
Underrated.
It's actually even worse than I remember it.
Underrated. I like it. What you say was worse than you remember?
I liked it when I was younger. I don't know. I liked it even less, more and more that I've rewatched it. I just don't get it.
My brother.
It's missing. I don't know. It's missing that style. It's missing that Spielberg flair to it. You know, too much shark.
My brother is a big fan. He might be the biggest fan of that film, and I've seen it a lot of times, and I do have problems with it. I don't like the teenage characters. I hate that they get more focused than Chief Brodey. But
the girl is
oh
yelling for like 40% of the movie. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right?
The shark, though, I love that they show a lot of the shark because they didn't just copy the first one. They said, you know what, the shark works this time. It has a scar. It's like a slash-a-vote. I love how it's such a fucking badass killer. It's a shark, but it has a scar. It's killing everybody. There is one scene in that film that haunts me to this day. It is the scene where towards the end where Sean is on that flipped boat and that woman is trying to get on the boat with him and the shark comes up and eats her right in front of him. And I don't know if it's the way it's shot. I don't know if it was the sound effects. I don't know if it was all of it. Haunts me to this day. I look back and it creeps me out, and it's effective.
They don't really show it.
No.
They don't really show her being eaten.
They show his reaction and the sound effects, and it just makes me want to just curl up into a ball and cry. It's excellent. There are a lot of good things in that film. I give it a 7 out of 10, strong 7, because it has, for what it's from a sequel from the greatest film ever made. They did a solid job. I can see someone saying it's not good. I get it. I can see you saying you don't like it. I get it because it doesn't even.
I think I gave it like a 4 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10. I don't think it's bad.
It's not Jaws 3 or Jaws the Revenge.
It's really missing a lot of. You really miss the shit out of the characters in the first one so much.
Yeah, lack of Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw. Luckily, Roy Scheider came back. Roy
Scheider is really good in it, by the way. He is really good in it.
Fun fact: he had to turn down the role of I forget the character's name, but he was offered the role that Christopher Walken got in Deer Hunter. He had to turn that down.
Oh, he turned it down for this?
He had to because he was on a contract with Universal for 2. Actually,
that hurts my soul.
3 films. He said, "I'll do this film if you eliminate the next one." so he had to do Jaws 2. So he didn't. He did a review. I'm sorry, he didn't do a review. He talked about how he hated doing Jaws 2. He hated being in that film. So, which he's still good in. He's the best part about it. He's so good and charismatic.
Well, what's cool is that, because I didn't know that, but at no point do I feel like, oh, he's phoning it in. He's still doing a really good job with the material that he's got.
I just hate how all the characters, besides the mayor, are like, no, Brodey, you're just crazy. This guy killed a shark. You know what? Also, you know what about this film I also love? This guy didn't kill just one shark. He killed two. Fucking great white sharks. He killed 2 of them. And that's canon. How badass is that? He killed 2 fucking sharks. I love that. So you know what? Jaws 2 I like Jaws 2. For that too. It's awesome.
We might have to talk about that whole franchise, by the way.
Jaws 3, real quick. Jaws 3, yes, it's bad. But I love the story. They had something there. They just didn't have the right effects cameras for the shitty effects.
It might look like, I think that might be the worst looking shark of all 4 movies.
It's the worst looking film I've ever seen. Besides low grain like shit like indie films. I mean, like Jaws 3 looks horrendous. Even on 4K, it looks so bad. And it's not the filmmaker's fault. It's the camera was just not good. They didn't do, which sucks because Joe Alves, who directed Jaws 3, was the production designer and like he helped build the shark on the first 2 films. He's an intricate part of why Jaws was successful. We can get into more of that another time, but Jaws 3 has a really strange history. But Jaws Revenge is awful. I mean,
Jaws the Revenge is one of the worst movies.
Yeah, that's a different story. That movie's trash, just complete utter garbage, trash shit. Maybe got off topic, which is fine, but History of Violence, it's something I don't think I'd ever watch again, unless I would watch John Hurt's scenes on YouTube. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, well, again, I rewatch it every couple of years. It had been like maybe 4 or 5 years since I had last seen it. Yeah, again, I just really enjoy it. I'm not a huge Cronenberg guy. I'm kind of mixed bag on him, but that's definitely my favorite aside from The Fly.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll enjoy The Fly.
I'm watching it this month for October watches, and again, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad people like it. Just not for me. 6 out of 10 for me. 8 or 8.5 out of 10 for you. I'm glad I watched it. Thank you for recommending it. I've always wanted to watch it because I keep coming back to Cronenberg because I want to like his stuff, but I just don't. I don't know what's wrong with me.
That's fair. We all got our choice. Like I said, I don't like Refn, and I know he's a favorite of a lot of people, including you, right?
I love The Neon Demon. I like Drive. I did like God. What's it called?
Only God Forgives.
Only God Forgives. I gotta watch that again. I haven't seen Bronson. I haven't seen any of his. What the fuck did he make? Like 3 movies with Mads Mikkelsen.
Bronson's good. I actually like Bronson, but mostly because of Tom Hardy.
What did he make? Movie with the Mads Mikkelsen? Like 3 of them or something. Pusher. I haven't seen those.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see it though, but Cronenberg just doesn't work for me, man. I love it because there's an interview. I'm paraphrasing this bad, but John Carpenter does not like David Cronenberg because they went to like this dinner with 80s horror directors, and Cronenberg was there, and Carpenter was there, and Carpenter said that Cronenberg was being such a pretentious dickhead.
I could see it. I could see that happening.
Like Carpenter's laid back.
John Carpenter is like the coolest dude ever.
Yeah, he's laid back. He plays video games. He plays music, and Cronenberg's like, cinema is when you have a fucking television that eats vaginas, and James Woods' hand is connected to a gun, man, and then it's a metaphor on cinema and how we're consumed. And John Carpenter's like, bro, shut the fuck up. It's a shitty movie about a TV who eats people. Like, get out of here.
Oh, man.
Then again, Carpenter made Christine, which isn't his fault. I don't blame him for that. Christine is an awful, fucking, shitty movie. I hate that movie to my core.
You know what? I enjoy aspects of that movie.
Fucking ridiculous. Run onto a hill. Get off the street. This idiot runs into an alleyway where the car can fit. Yes, he tries to get into a corner where it's small, but the car's still... Like, jump over the car. It's a car.
That's what I was going to say. That's the one death where I'm like, you can, like, jump onto the hood. You can time it right. Like, it's not a big deal.
Then you got White Steve Urkel, who's a geek, and he gets in the car and he becomes, like he's Johnny Sins or something. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I don't like it. It's not for me. It's not for me. God damn it. Speaking of horror films, anything else you want to say about the film, by the way, before we move on?
Oh, no. I think we pretty much covered it. It was one that I wanted to get to for a while now.
Well, good pick.
I did not know you weren't a Cronenberg guy. I actually would have suggested something else.
No.
It was between that and something else.
I'm glad you recommended it, so don't feel bad for recommending it. I liked it, just not for me. So David and I discussed before we started recording that for October, we're going to try, is the key word, to record once a week in October. And each episode, we'll talk about 2 horror films that both of us picked. So each episode, we'll pick a horror film for us to watch. So like now, I'm going to pick a horror film for next time, and so will you, David. I don't hate to put you on the spot if you haven't thought of one, but I'll pick mine now so I can give you time to think. So for me, a horror film that, I hate the word, severely underrated. No one ever talks about it besides me and Pokey Gem and a few other people on Film Twitter. 2018, Possum, British horror film starring Sean Harris, and I forget the other guy's name. It's a very, very creepy, unsettling film about a guy who's trying to get rid of a puppet. That's all I'll say. David, it's on Prime, so you can watch it on Prime. I have it on DVD. It's my third favorite horror film.
I don't know if you know this, but I think I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it? Okay, well, we can still talk about it.
I've seen it, and I really enjoy it.
All right, cool.
And it's disturbing as fuck, and I can't wait to rewatch it.
It's great because we can talk about that for a while because it has so much depth to it. So that's my pick. I hate to put you on the spot, but do you have a pick for next episode's horror movie?
I do have a pick, and because that one is so dark, I'm gonna try to go with a more lighthearted.
Okay, that's cool.
Horror movie. Probably my favorite horror movie, and it's actually very recent. I'm not sure if you've seen it. But it's the Fright Night remake with Colin Farrell.
Huh. I've never
and Anton Yelchin.
Okay, I've never seen it. I've seen the first 2, the original first 2. I prefer the second one because of Tommy Lee Wallace, because I'm a fanboy. But I've never seen the remake. I've never seen the trailers on TV. And I'm like, oh. So I'm definitely excited to watch it because you say it's your favorite horror film, huh?
I have so much fun with that movie.
Right.
That was one of my favorite theater experiences. I remember being totally empty theater, seeing that with a couple of friends of mine. I enjoy that movie so much. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I think you'll like it.
No.
Even so, it's a horror movie, and very few horror movies I don't at least like somewhat. So
I like Colin Farrell. He's an excellent actor. Even when he's in bad movies, he's still the best part. So I'm very excited for it, especially you giving it such high praise. So, okay. We'll discuss when we'll record next week. So, okay, to the audience that is not listening, next week we'll be talking about Possum 2018, and then Fright Night, what year is it?
2011.
2011. Okay, so 2 2010 horror films. That's kind of a cool little thing. And so there's going to be no topic. I mean, we might talk about something little in the beginning, but we'll just jump right into the 2 horror films for this excellent month of October. And I'm very excited to start with these 2 films.
Totally. Can't wait.
Anything else you want to say, David, before we let this audience that's not listening go?
Only that we're going to do, a whole entire, like you mentioned earlier, we're going to do a whole month of just horror films. I'm sure we're going to jump between, I'm sure we're going to get off topic, you and I being such huge horror fans ourselves.
Yeah, which is fine.
So the audience will have to forgive us for spinning off topic, but there's just so much to talk about with the genre. And I can't wait. This is my favorite time of the year, so I can't wait.
Same here. All right. So thank you to everyone who's listening. But of course, I got to end with this joke. There is no one who's listening because this is the film podcast that nobody listens to. See you, everybody.